Hey, welcome back to Peace in the Mix with me, Portia Payton. I am so happy you are here. Let's just get right into this, okay? So I wanted to just remind anybody out there who may need this reminder that you don't have anything to prove. You really don't, okay? People are gonna perceive you how they want to perceive you. There's nothing you can do to forever influence somebody's perception of you, because at the end of the day, no two people perceive life the same. Somebody is always going to see you through their lens, and that may not be in alignment with how you view yourself. So you could be the nicest, most genuine, authentic, caring, well-intentioned, happy person, and somebody will still find a way to find flaws, misperceive your intentions, question your character. They'll try to find a way to bring you down to their level because they're not happy. They're miserable. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but the more life you live, the more you start to see like some people really are just unhappy and there's nothing you can do about that. You gotta just keep moving how you move. Some people have a control issue. They wanna figure out how to influence you not to be happy, so they'll distract you by getting in your head about you. You can't let anybody get in your mind about you, because why give them that much power? I personally think people would be happier if they just stopped trying to influence people's perceptions of them and stopped caring and worrying about how people perceive you. And sometimes you're worried about people perceiving you in the wrong way. Like, oh, I wonder what that person thinks about me. I hope they don't think X, Y, and Z. Oh, they're probably thinking this about me. They're probably thinking that. No, you secretly feel that about yourself, and you're projecting that onto other people and just telling yourself a story that they are feeling like that about you when you don't know that. And you're just being your own bully. I mean, guilty as charged. I only say that because I've done that before, and I saw something online that really shifted my perspective. It was this guy on TikTok, and he said something like, somebody asked him a question like, how did you get to the point where you stopped caring about what people thought? And he was like, once I realized that it was just me putting my thoughts onto other people, because there's no way for me to know what other people think. And it's so true. You don't know that. Unless people directly tell you how they feel about you, you don't know that. It is not your job to think for other people. What they think about you and how they perceive what you're doing, how you live your life, how you make your choices, that is not your job, that's on them. If they have an issue with how you're moving, that is on them. And this also goes for the complete opposite, right? Even if you're not the happiest person and you're not having the best day and you're going through something in life, as we all do, and maybe your interaction with somebody is not the best, it's not a great demonstration of who you are overall. Hey, that was just a moment, that was just a day, and how they perceive you, they may take that with them for life and be like, that person is not nice, that person is this, that person did this to me, blah, blah, blah. And it was just a moment in time, it was just a snapshot in time, but they'll run with that and think that that defines you permanently, and that's not your job. It's okay to have a bad day. I'm not saying it's okay to treat people like crap. This is not an excuse for whoever's going through something, but sometimes you're not your best self, and if people are defining you based on those moments, let them. It's okay. Think of how much happier you would be and how liberating it would be if you just figured out what certain things mean to you. Like, figure out what happiness means to you. Figure out what success means to you. Figure out what luxury means to you. Figure out all of these things for you and live according to that standard, which is your own standard. Because at the end of the day, you're the one walking around with you 24 hours a day. You go to sleep with you at night. You are in this body. You and you gotta be in alignment, okay? You have to stand 10 toes down on what you believe in. And the only way to figure that out is to really get to know yourself and figure out who you are. And then you won't be so easily swayed and offended by how other people perceive you. Who cares? You cannot control that, babe. Trying to prove that you're this person or that you're that or that you're happy or that you're, it's like, why are you trying to prove that? Now I'm asking you a question. What's going on within you to the point where you feel like you have to prove something to people? Why? Do you feel like you're lacking within you? Then you gotta figure out how to fill that void. You gotta figure out how to redefine whatever you feel like you're lacking and improve on that. You don't need to be walking around proving yourself to people, because nobody cares. And you will never do enough. You won't ever do enough. Somebody is always gonna try to discredit or find a flaw in something. So you might as well just do you, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be too this for somebody, you're gonna be too that for somebody. Like, You're gonna travel too much for somebody. You're gonna work too much for somebody. You're gonna, you know, someone's always gonna have an issue with your choice, and that is a them problem. If you really think about it, why do you have such an issue with how I'm choosing to live my life? Everybody has a choice. These qualities that I'm talking about happiness and all of that stuff, that is not exempt for only a selection of people. Like, not a special few get access to that. Everybody has access to choosing to be happy, choosing to look at something in a more positive way than a negative way. All of this stuff is a choice. Choosing to be disciplined, choosing to make decisions that your future self will thank you for. Everybody has access to this. This is not something that you have to go pay for. This is not something that's only accessible to a certain group of people. No, you can do this. But you're so focused on what everybody else got going on that you are forgetting that you too have choices. So get out of everybody else's business. And also, who cares if people are in your business? Goes hand in hand. You don't have nothing to prove to nobody. Nobody, baby. I do also want to touch on this really quick. I don't know if you've had this experience before, but sometimes you go out of your way trying to prove how good of a person you are. That's exhausting, babe. You don't gotta do that. Because again, you do one thing that somebody doesn't like, all of a sudden they forget about all the good things that you've done. People have amnesia, right? So people choose what they want to latch onto. The faster we realize that is not my job. I know who I am. And the only way to get to know who you are for real is you gotta figure out what you think about stuff. So don't do things to try to prove that you're a good person. Do things because you genuinely want to do them, and then let it go, you know? What you put out comes back to you tenfold. So don't even worry about it. Let people have their opinions. Honestly, I gotta remind you this too. Like, people are free to have whatever opinion they want about you, babe. Like, they can think whatever they want. That's their freedom. We all have the free will to choose how we think about whatever we're focused on. So if you're the focal point, people really do have the freedom to believe what they want to believe about you. They have the choice to see you how they want to see you, but who cares? It's hot air. Like, what people think about you, especially when you know who you are and you know your heart, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't hold weight. And this is just me speaking from life experience. It really doesn't hold weight. And I'm gonna tell you what matters the most. How you perceive yourself, how you view yourself. Now, I do wanna say this though. You can only be delusional to a certain point. If everybody, and they don't have to even know each other, but just people in different aspects of your life, if everybody is saying the same thing about you, that is something to look into, because then you are the common denominator. At some point, you gotta look in the mirror. Like, okay, if everyone's saying this about me, then maybe I should look at myself. And also, that could also mean that you secretly know that, and people are just mirrors and reflections of how you may be feeling about yourself anyway. Not everything, you know, sometimes, like, I ain't gonna hold you, sometimes people really do be with the mess and they be on that BS. But anything in your world, it is a reflection of whatever relationship you have going on within yourself. So if you can just tend to your relationship with yourself and make that the focal point, your relationships with other people are just gonna reflect that. If you're not tending to the relationship within yourself, then your relationships with other people are also going to reflect that. And what I mean by tend to the relationship with yourself, you gotta start caring about yourself, okay? You do have to start treating yourself well. You do have to start changing that negative self-talk into more positive self-talk. It's a form of reparenting. At a certain point, you do leave the nest. You're not with your parents forever. And at a certain point, you do have to be that person that steps in and guides yourself and treats yourself well. Love yourself the way that you would love somebody else. Think of the person that you love the most, and then think about how you treat them. And then you gotta start treating yourself like that. Because if you don't, your relationships with other people will reflect that, and it will mirror back to you what you have going on within you. And it's not a good or bad thing, it's just what happens. If you're treating yourself well, 9 times out of 10, the relationships that you have with other people are going to reflect that. And this is not to depend on those relationships to reflect that. Just look at it as data, right? Look at your relationships as data. Still be genuine in your relationships. Treat people how you would want to be treated. You can always kind of be reminded of what's going on internally by studying what's going on externally. If your relationships are going well, that means, you know, you and you are doing well. But if things are kind of falling apart, you're feeling disrespected by other people, people are talking to you crazy, people are being dismissive, people are being negative towards you, all these things, people are not believing you, people are not supporting you, then you gotta just kind of ask the question of, am I supporting myself? Am I believing in myself? Am I disrespecting myself? Am I dismissing myself? Am I being negative towards myself? Because why is this showing up everywhere I turn? Once you tend to yourself, you don't have to prove anything. And sometimes doing the work is scary. Like, sometimes looking in the mirror, it's hard to do that sometimes. Like, it's easier to blame somebody else. It's easier to just focus on how people are doing you wrong and how people are mistreating you, instead of looking in the mirror and being like, what am I doing to myself to the point where this is showing up in my life? Why is this, what is going on? Because people should not feel comfortable disrespecting me. People should not feel comfortable talking to me any kind of way and mistreating me. Like, if I know that I wouldn't do that to other people, why do people feel so comfortable doing that to me? You can blame people until the cows come home, because you do have the choice and you have the freedom to do that. But there is no self-empowerment by doing that, by blaming other people, because all of your power goes to them when all of your power should be directed inwards. I hope that at least one thing I said in this video resonated. You know that this channel is all about self-empowerment, so I will always encourage you. I will always be your accountability partner. I will always be right here on the sidelines cheering for you. What was this? I was pretending like I had pom-poms in my hand. I'll be right here on the sidelines cheering for you and just wishing you well and sending love and just hoping that you are enjoying a better quality of life from the inside out, because you can. Please give this video a thumbs up. Also, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, as always. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe, baby. Please subscribe, honey, do-wop. And I will see you in the next video.